Do you want to be a fighter?
RMC
There's only one Tyson Fury.
Fighters Club.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
Alexandre Herbinet.
I am the greatest.
Bonjour à toutes, bonjour à tous et bienvenue dans un nouveau numéro du RMC Fighter Club, un RMC Fighter Club qui remonte dans la cage avec un invité très spécial, un pionnier, une légende du MMA, le Brésilien monsieur Royce Gracie de l'illustre famille Gracie. Avec moi pour ce numéro exceptionnel, mon compère du Fighter Club, boxe MMA, là, toujours là avec moi, monsieur Jonathan Macardy, bonjour.
Salut Alex.
Salut, tout va bien?
Nickel.
Et avec nous, ça fait plusieurs fois qu'il a déjà son rond de serviette au Fighter Club maintenant, le coach principal de la Bellator Paris. Gracie Barra, c'est un nom qui va nous parler pendant cet épisode. Monsieur Julien Cazzi, bonjour.
Bonjour à tous, c'est très émotionnant pour moi d'être là aujourd'hui parce que pour le coup, on parle de légende, on en a une vraie dans le studio.
On en a une vraie de vraie. C'est donc un immense plaisir, un immense honneur d'accueillir aujourd'hui monsieur Royce Gracie. It's a huge honor, huge pleasure to have you with us today, Mr. Royce Gracie. Hello.
It's good to be back in France.
Okay, we're gonna talk about all that. La formule va plaire à Jonathan, un peu moins à Julien. Il restera à jamais le premier. Il y a un peu moins de 30 ans, le 12 novembre 93, Royce Gracie marquait pour l'éternité l'histoire du MMA en remportant le tournoi du premier événement de l'organisation UFC. Représentant de l'illustre famille Gracie, le fils du légendaire Helio avait été sélectionné pour prouver au monde la domination du jiu-jitsu brésilien familial sur le reste des sports de combat. Une mission remplie avec brio. 30 ans plus tard, son nom reste gravé parmi les mythes de la discipline et le Brésilien est sans doute un des mieux placés pour parler de l'évolution du MMA et de l'utilisation du jiu-jitsu dans ce sport. Le RMC Fighter Club a l'immense honneur et privilège de recevoir monsieur Royce Gracie.
Please welcome, out of the red corner, Royce Gracie.
He just tapped out.
Did he? Oh, the towel just got thrown in as well.
That's amazing. It doesn't take much.
And we're ready to start, ladies and gentlemen. I think this will be a very exciting bout.
There they go. There's the tap. Royce actually had him in a choke from the back, and he tapped. He tapped 4 times. It's so hard to see sometimes, but that's the power of jiu-jitsu. He's on the back, and Gerard is in a lot of trouble. Now, what Royce is going to do is try to get Gerard to raise his neck. I bet he slaps in the back of the neck a couple of times, Bill.
See, again,
and the hands underneath.
This is a major part of fighting. People do not understand that this is very strong.
He's got him in a great choke. It's over.
It's over.
Merci à monsieur Max Sabolin qui nous a préparé cette petite prod. Et quelques souvenirs, some memories for you Royce. D'abord, on est dans le cadre, si on vous reçoit Royce Gracie, c'est qu'on est dans le cadre de la semaine du Bellator Paris ce vendredi soir à Bercy, Mansour Barnaoui contre Brent Primus. Pourquoi Royce Gracie, pourquoi vous êtes là pour cette semaine pour le Bellator? Vous êtes un ambassadeur du Bellator, mais pourquoi cette venue à Paris? Why did you come this week in Paris, Royce? I know you're ambassador for Bellator, but why did you come?
For Bellator, to watch the very good card. It's a very good card. So I can't wait to see it.
Sur cette carte, il y a bien sûr pour nous l'intérêt principal, il s'appelle Mansour Barnaoui, notre combattant français qui participe au tournoi des poids légers avec son premier tour contre Brent Primus. Royce, qu'est-ce que vous connaissez de Mansour et comment vous jugez le combattant? So obviously for us French, the most important thing on that card is Mansour Barnaoui coming up in the lightweight Grand Prix against Brent Primus for his first round. What do you know about Mansour and what do you think about him as a fighter?
Barnaoui have a very good grappling. If the fight goes to the ground, I think you have a much better chance. And of course, Primus will try to keep the fight standing up. So, but again, it's a fight. Anything can happen. So that's why my family created this sport. So it's a quest to find out which style is the best, who is the best fighter.
C'est une question un peu bateau, Royce, mais quand on a votre passé et quand on vient de la famille Gracie, forcément, un combattant qui est plus spécialiste du sol, on les préfère aux autres, non? Obviously, it's an obvious question for you, given that you are a Gracie, but for a Gracie, the fighters that go mostly on the ground, that are known for the ground game, that's your favorite fighter, no?
On the beginning, it was a style against a style. Today, it's more of a fighter against a fighter. It's who studied the opponent better, who can take the opponent out of their game better. You see, so all the grapplers have to learn how to stand up, and all the stand-up fighters had to learn the grappling. So sometimes, he's just a kickboxer. No, he's a kickboxer, but he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So everybody's all-around fighter today.
Quand même, Brent Primus, il est fort au sol. Je l'avais vu soumettre quand même Jack Shield dans l'organisation de Chael Sonnen. Après, j'avais vu combattre aussi contre Craig Jones, il perd, mais bon, c'est Craig Jones en face. Comment vous appréhendez un combat entre deux personnes qui ont un très haut niveau de grappling? Est-ce que ça risque pas, au contraire, d'être plutôt rester debout et d'être un combat de kickboxing? So I saw that Brent Primus has a good level in jiu-jitsu. He's a black belt. I saw him fight against Jack Shield. He submitted him in the Charleston organization. I saw him fight against Craig Jones. He lost, but still it's Craig Jones, right? How do you foresee a fight between two good fighters on the ground? Are they going to just stand because they're afraid of each other's skills?
You never know. That's why we create. Sometimes they're both very good grapplers. They end up boxing each other. Yeah. It's like, I've seen that happen before. But sometimes the guy's a very good grappler. But once he becomes a fighter, when punches are allowed and kicks are allowed, it changed the whole game.
They fall in love with boxing, right?
No, it changed the game because sometimes the guy's a very good grappler and he cannot use the grappling in a fight. It changed, you see, from tournament point style to a fight.
Vous disiez là tout à l'heure que les combattants aujourd'hui sont beaucoup plus complets que même un ceinture noire de jiu-jitsu brésilien à un bon niveau en kickboxing, en striking. Comment vous compariez par rapport à votre époque, on va dire aux années 90? Est-ce que les combattants d'aujourd'hui dans le top niveau du MMA, ils vous sont bien supérieurs dans le côté complet par rapport à cette époque? So Royce, you were talking about how the fighters from today are more complete, and even when they are black belt in jiu-jitsu Brazilian, they also have a lot of other options in their game. What would you say if you had to compare your style and your fighting back in the 90s and the fighters of today, the top level fighters of today? Would you say that they are way more complete than you were at the time?
Back then, the difference is back then, it was a style against a style. It was karate against kung fu, boxing against judo. You see one style against another. Today is not a style against a style anymore. It's the athletes, and one athlete against another. Who can cut weight easier? Everything matters, you see. Who knows they can break down the other one's game better. So who have more endurance. So everything, more power, everything, it adds up to the pot today.
Et vous auriez votre place aujourd'hui, vous pensez, dans l'élite du MMA mondial? Si le Royce Gracie de l'époque arrivait aujourd'hui, il devrait beaucoup plus développer son jeu. Would you have your place in today's elite level of MMA? Or the Royce Gracie of that time would have to work on a lot of stuff to be at that level?
There was a test, a study that was done, and it was cycling, running, 100 yards, 100 meters, cycling, and rowing.
Yeah.
They did the test of the champion today competing with the bicycle from 1960. And the champion today would not make the time from 1960. The track that's using the same track, the same shoes from 1950s, 60s, the champion today would have lose using the equipment from back then. So it's hard to compare, you see. But back then there was no time limit, no weight division, no rules, everything. There's only one way to find out. And that's why we create this. People always ask, well, what if you put Bruce Lee to compete against Roy Jones Jr. or you see, it's like get two guys from different eras, different times and put them. People always had that question. And that's why we create the show.
J'ai envie de rebondir tout de suite là-dessus parce que ça m'intéresse, c'est une des questions que j'avais prévues. Est-ce que vous changeriez quelque chose au MMA d'aujourd'hui, dans les règles? Puisqu'on sait que voilà, vous étiez quelqu'un qui est d'une famille qui était plutôt pas de limite de temps, pas de catégorie de poids, pas de juge, on va juste à la victoire. Qu'est-ce que vous changeriez aujourd'hui pour améliorer le MMA à vos yeux? Your family were known for that. No time limit, no weight class, no judges. The only way to win a fight was submission or TKO. What would you change in today's MMA, in today's rules, to make it better in your eyes?
I wouldn't. I think it's good. I think it's good. Okay, if you change and you put no time limit, today's a show, so they have to have. Without time limit, it would be like UFC 4 when my fight was still going on and the cable company cut it off because it was 2 hour limit. So I understand, you see, today. Back then, it had to be done that way because we were in a quest to find out what works, what style is the best.
Et justement, je voudrais rebondir dessus, mais récemment, on a eu une déclaration de Royce Gracie qui disait que lui, il préférait un type de combat avec des combats de 15 minutes, 25 minutes, justement avec moins de break, moins de water break, moins de choses comme ça, et qui pense qu'il y aurait plus d'intérêt au combat si les rounds étaient plus larges. Recently, Gracie was talking about the current fight aren't real because there is a time limit and there is a break in the rounds. And he asked the people about doing some fights like 15 minutes, 25 minutes, instead the fight we got right now. So what do you think about it?
Okay, back then, my father used to say there was no time limit and no weight division.
Yeah.
So why we ask the no time limit? Because I'll give you the weight advantage, but you gotta give me time.
Sure.
You see, because if I fight somebody bigger and stronger than me and he gets on top of me, 5 minutes goes by, he's on top. Did he do anything? No. So we finish the fight. He wins because he was on top. It's unfair. So we say, we'll give you the time, the weight advantage, but you got to give me time to work. You see, but if they're both on the same weight division, time limit is equal for both of them.
Le problème, c'est que quand il y a des rounds et des coupures entre les rounds, par exemple, on va prendre un exemple. Si quelqu'un termine dans le dos de son adversaire, mais que le round se termine, le problème, c'est que le round d'après, il recommence debout. Donc il y a quand même un petit problème là-dessus. The main thing is, let's take an example. Somebody is on somebody's back and the round ends, right? They start again the next round, but they stand standing and the guy lost the position, a good position, a dominant position. So don't you think there is some kind of problem here?
Yes and no. Yes, there is a problem, but then the rules is equal for both of them. But I would say if we do one round, 15 minutes, you see, done. And then we decide who won.
Yes.
Instead,
I love it.
Instead, it could have been done that way. Yeah. You see, it could have done it because then we still on the time limit for the TV show. We gotta accommodate. We cannot just do no time limit today because the TV is
but no rounds, just one big round.
One big round. You see.
Yeah.
But then if you look for this, it may work, it may not. Because the fight now might become boring now. Because if the guys are just standing there and just hold each other inside the guard, for instance, and nobody's doing anything, the referee have to stand up and, hey, stand up, both of you.
Oui, mais par exemple, la personne qui aurait son dos pris ou qui serait sous la montée de quelqu'un, il aurait tout intérêt de s'échapper le plus vite et de ne pas laisser s'égrener les secondes en attendant que le round termine et de recommencer debout. For example, the guy who has his back taken, he would have to rush to escape. He wouldn't be able to wait till the end of the round just to start again standing.
Yes. I mean, I understand your point, but sometimes, let's say I'm on the guy's back. What if I'm not doing anything? Just holding him.
It's true.
You see, so the referee have to have action.
Yeah.
You see, so it's something that could work, but the referee have to be in there. Again, what if it's 5 minutes and I'm on the guy's back? Because I know I got his back. I know I'm going to win on points. So I'm just going to hold on and ride him. And maybe he have good defense.
Yes.
And if I cannot finish him, it becomes a boring fight for the viewers.
Right.
I think the referee will have to step in on that point. But if we do no time, just the 15-minute round, the referee have to step in. The 5-minute round is for the fight to get going. You see, it's
a rhythm.
But sometimes I understand your point. I'm mounted on the guy. I cut his arm. I'm about to squeeze, and the time runs out. Ah, man. 10 more seconds, I would have win. It's like...
Exactly.
Et ça arrive beaucoup. It happens many times. Julien, j'étais obligé de noter, mais là, quand je regardais, j'ai Royce Gracie qui est en train de débattre avec Joe sur les règles du MMA. C'est beau.
C'est beau.
C'est la métaverse.
I just really happy to see a discussion between Royce and my partner on that podcast so many times.
Il faut reconnaître que le point de Maître Royce, c'est important parce que finalement, on a combien de combats de grappling, nos limites aussi qu'on a vu boring au possible. You're right on this point because we can see a lot of grappling fights and grappling events which are very boring because non-limit fights which are very boring for the public because 1 hour without anything.
There's only one way to find out is put it to the test.
Yeah.
Try it out. Do you see?
Gordon against Peña was boring as fuck. The last time.
Yes.
It was too long. La dernière fois que Gordon Ryan et Peña se sont affrontés, c'était un peu long. Et je peux comprendre que quand tu t'intéresses, oui, tu regardes, mais
Gordon
assez grand public.
with Jacob
Ouais.
was boring as fuck as well.
Yeah.
But then the referee have to step in and, okay, action, move, go, stand up if that's the case, start them up. They have to have a point. It's hard. You gotta put it to try. You gotta put it as a tryout. You gotta try it. Hey, we are here to try out to make it better.
Royce, on va aussi rentrer.
I'm not against.
Royce, on va aussi rentrer dans l'évolution du jeu au sol parce que c'est ce qui nous intéresse, notamment en ayant Julien. Mais plus globalement, j'avais une question aussi. Comment vous voyez l'évolution de ce qui est devenu le MMA aujourd'hui? Ce matin, on était à la conférence de presse du Bellator, c'était à la Tour Eiffel. Vendredi soir, ils seront à Bercy, devant 15 000 personnes. Ce sport est devenu beaucoup plus mainstream qu'à l'époque où vous étiez, où c'était quelque chose d'un peu caché. Comment vous voyez cette évolution? Et est-ce que c'est quelque chose auquel vous vous attendiez quand vous avez commencé ce sport-là dans les années 90? How do you see the evolution globally of MMA, of what this sport has become? I mean, when you started in the 90s, it was a really niche thing. There was not much people watching it. Today, we are doing a press conference in Eiffel Tower. It's going to be in the biggest Parisian arena this Friday with Mansour Barnaoui. How do you see that evolution of that sport? And did you believe back in the time that it could become that big?
The evolution is question of educating the crowd. It was banned in many countries, in many states in America.
In France till 2020?
Oui, jusqu'à 2020.
It's question. That's what I always say. It's question of educating the crowd. It's violent. Well, we can say soccer, football is violent. Kids break their legs and arms every year playing soccer. So let's ban soccer. Football is the most the popular sport in the world. More people practice and play soccer, football than any other sports. But kids break their arms and legs. So it's a question of educating. There is the referee that can stop the fight. The doctors can stop the fight. The cornerman can stop the fight. The fighters can stop the fight. So there's a lot of people watching and controlling the fight. It's not just people say, oh, it's barbaric. It's two guys beating each other up. It's a sport. It's a martial art. Martial arts is the second most practiced sport in the world, all the martial arts together.
I know.
So it's a question of educating the crowd.
Et c'était un des problèmes qu'on avait en France pendant très longtemps. That's one of the problems that we had in France because people were telling bad things about the sport and there was no education for the public. Les gens, notamment des hommes politiques, en parlaient mal et il n'y avait pas l'éducation derrière qu'on est en train de voir aujourd'hui. Je voulais quand même contextualiser un peu avant qu'on rentre dans ce travail de sol. Qui sont les Gracie? Quelle est la famille Gracie? C'est la famille, voilà, c'est les sommités du jiu-jitsu brésilien. On est d'accord, Julien, Joe, le jiu-jitsu brésilien moderne, c'est les Gracie. C'est
demandé à Julien parce que Julien a été au Brésil et c'est Carlos Gracie Jr. qui lui a donné toutes ses promotions.
C'est vrai.
Je dis pas de bêtises là-dessus.
C'est vrai. Non, tout à l'heure on parlait de légende, on parlait d'histoire, on est plus que dans l'écriture, là on est vraiment dans l'histoire vécue. On parle de quelque chose qui est né avec l'arrivée de Maïda en 1904, l'éducation de Carlos Gracie Senior en 1920. Enfin, on a une vraie histoire derrière, énormément de choses qui ont été dites et faites et réalisées jusqu'à une évolution aujourd'hui du jiu-jitsu au sens large du terme. Donc c'est fondamental.
Et il y avait le patriarche Helio Gracie avec ses 9 enfants, dont Royce. There was the patriarch Helio and his 9 sons, including you. C'était une de mes 2 questions sur la famille Gracie. C'était quoi de grandir avec Helio Gracie comme papa? What it was like to grow up with Helio Gracie as a dad?
To me, he was just my father. It's kind of like my kids, for a long time, they didn't know who I was. I was already fighting and winning, and my kids, people come up to me and ask, hey, can I have a picture with you, Mr. Gracie? My kids will go like, Dad, why does he want your picture? Why? For them, at a young age, they were very strange. Same thing with my father and I. I was like, do you know these people, Dad? It's like, no. So how'd they know you? It's like, I don't know. It was just dad for us, just father.
Et ma deuxième question sur la famille Gracie, my second question on the Gracie family, est-ce que c'était vraiment Rickson le plus fort des frères? Was Rickson the better of the 9 sons?
Yes, Rickson was really good. He was way ahead of his time.
So, meilleur que vous? Better than you?
He used to beat me up. How do you think I got good? All the older brothers beat me up.
Julien, je voulais
juste better than Royce.
Say it again?
Rickson. Better than Royce as well?
Different time. Hollish came first, and Hollish passed away, had the accident, and then Hickson was just a young 18, 19 years old, 20 years old, so he was just coming up.
Okay. Tu peux rappeler juste de qui tu parlais, Julien?
De Royce Gracie, en fait, qui est donc un des frères aussi, qui est malheureusement décédé prématurément, qui est pour l'ensemble, en fait, en tout cas de nous, du Wall of Fame et de toute la légende qui est inhérente au jiu-jitsu, qui est un des grands noms et certainement le premier développeur du jiu-jitsu moderne et un des meilleurs, en fait, dans sa catégorie, dans sa discipline.
Je voulais te donner la parole sur le niveau pour parler au grand public, Julien, que peuvent représenter les Gracie pour le sol. Quand je vérifiais, je voulais juste checker d'abord avec Royce. Royce, I wanted to check with you. Are you a red belt on the Gracie system? You are a red belt?
Blue
dark. Dark blue. Like Helio.
Like dark blue.
Bleu marine comme Helio, qui était le chef professeur. C'est quel niveau pour parler au grand public en termes un peu intelligibles et basiques, Julien? Ça représente quoi? C'est le top du top.
À quoi je pourrais le comparer? C'est
Chef Michelin 10 étoiles.
Ouais, si on compare ça à un Michelin 10 étoiles, ouais, c'est comme si on parlait demain du niveau de Pelé, de Maradona. On parle de légende du même acabit, quoi. On parle vraiment de ce qui peut se faire de mieux dans le sport. Je parle même pas du jiu-jitsu ou du MMA, dans le sport. Et dans les arts martiaux en général, et globalement dans toutes les disciplines confondues. On est du même acabit pour moi pour moi aujourd'hui, c'est comme si j'avais Maradona ou Pelé face à moi. It's like today I have Pelé or Maradona in front of me. You're a true legend first.
I'm a product of my father's work. I just know what I'm doing.
Et comment tu pourrais expliquer aux gens, en plus, tu es le chef coach de la Gracie Barra, donc il y a Gracie dans le nom et il y a bien une raison pour laquelle il y a Gracie dans le nom, c'est que ça vient de cette famille. C'était quoi le système au sol des Gracie? Qu'est-ce qu'ils ont apporté? C'était quoi leur jeu, si tu pouvais résumer ça le plus simplement possible, en fait?
En fait, il faut bien comprendre qu'il y a eu des évolutions. Tout à l'heure, on parlait de l'évolution du MMA et des combattants discipline par discipline, puis après ce meurtre qui s'est fait au fur et à mesure des années. Le jiu-jitsu, il a connu finalement la même évolution, parce que au début, on parlait beaucoup de self-défense. Quand on regarde bien les premiers écrits du début du développement du jiu-jitsu, c'était de la self-défense, puis après, ça s'est développé vers de l'attaque, du MMA, etc., etc. Donc, quand on parle de système, finalement, il n'y a pas un système. Il y aurait plusieurs systèmes qui sont même développés par école, parce qu'après, chacun a développé son école avec ses spécificités et ses originalités, et aussi ses envies. Donc, pour le coup, par contre, on a un travail qui est commun sur le travail de levier, le travail de contrôle, le travail de compréhension, en fait, de tout ce qui était immobilisation, étranglement, soumission, et tout ce qui va avec. Mais moi, j'ai plein d'anecdotes là-dessus, parce que ça, on pourrait débattre pendant longtemps. Mais je me souviens avoir fait un jour un séminaire avec Flavio Almeida qui me disait, tu sais, Julien, la garde fermée, c'est une hérésie. Moi, regardons ça, de quoi il me parle? Il fait, bah oui, quand tu regardes bien à l'origine des Gracie, la garde fermée, c'était une hérésie, parce que ça veut dire que tu es tombé sur le dos ou que tu étais en montée et qu'on t'a renversé. Donc finalement, le système, il a beaucoup évolué avec le temps, parce qu'on regarde beaucoup de gens qui font de la garde fermée aujourd'hui. Même un pratiquant de MMA, on lui dit, garde fermée, ça lui parle. Pourtant, à l'origine, c'était pas du tout l'objectif. Donc tout ça, ça a évolué, les systèmes ont évolué.
C'était un système purement défensif, c'est ça?
Au début, c'était un système purement défensif de contrôle. On regarde bien les premiers UFC, qu'est-ce que c'était? Garde haute, front kick, entrée, amener au sol, montée. Choke, armbar. Le système, il était basé sur ça. Et puis après, les choses se sont développées et ont évolué. Mais c'est là qu'on a après plein de débats qui sont peut-être un peu pénibles d'ailleurs à écouter pour beaucoup de gens aujourd'hui, donc on va peut-être passer un peu de vite là-dessus. Mais finalement, le jiu-jitsu sportif n'est plus du tout en adéquation avec le jiu-jitsu originel, que le MMA d'aujourd'hui a beaucoup évolué par rapport à avant. Enfin, il y a beaucoup de choses qui ont bougé.
Non, au contraire, moi je trouve que c'est un sujet qu'on peut un peu entamer pendant quelques minutes, parce que c'est intéressant, je trouve, en ayant Royce.
Pour lui demander, oui. Ce que Julien disait, rebondir en fait. Quand Julien dit que le jiu-jitsu aujourd'hui, les compétitions, le jiu-jitsu sportif n'a plus rien à voir avec l'esprit originel dans lequel il a été créé, quel est votre avis là-dessus? Julian just said in French that nowadays the competition of jiu-jitsu went far away from what it was supposed to be in the beginning. It doesn't look the same. It's almost like not the same sport. What do you think about it?
Martial art in general was not made for competition. Martial art in general was made for you. Forget which martial art is better than the other. Martial art was made for you to defend yourself in a street fight situation. Karate, kung fu, taekwondo. What's the purpose? Defend yourself against somebody attacking you. You see, so point system ruined taekwondo. I think it was taekwondo or karate, one of those two last Olympics, that the guy on the Olympics,
taekwondo, yes,
knocked the guy out and lost, because after he knocked the guy out, he lost.
Karaté. Exactly.
It was karate.
Okay.
Karate. He lost because he was excessive force. He got disqualified. It's like, that's a shame. You see, the guy who got knocked out won.
We have the same in jiu-jitsu. On a le même en jiu-jitsu. Je crois que c'est Matteo Diniz qui étrangle Barbosa et puis qui perd parce qu'en fait ça avait sonné. We had the same in jiu-jitsu. Matteo Diniz choked Barbosa, but Barbosa won because the time went out before he fell asleep.
But that martial art in general was not made for you to score points. For you, it was made for you to defend yourself in a street fight situation. So yes, not just in jiu-jitsu, but all martial arts became a shame. The guys, they tag, they touch, I score a point, I won.
Yeah.
Karate Taekwondo was not made for that. It was made to knock you out, you see. So it was not made to score a point, touch, I win. And the guys you see, they jump, bing, touch. Like, really? Come on.
We got the same in jiu-jitsu. Typically, if you pull guard, the guy touch your leg, 2 points.
Tu peux dire en français?
En fait, on a le même problème en jiu-jitsu. C'est-à-dire que quand on fait une pull guard, si mon partenaire ou mon opposant vient me taper la jambe, il prend 2 points et moi je suis pénalisé. The same.
Je voulais aussi, pour rester sur cette évolution, parler de l'évolution globale du jeu au sol, mais dans le MMA. Aujourd'hui, Royce, quand vous regardez un combat de MMA de haut niveau, au Bellator par exemple, est-ce que vous reconnaissez le jiu-jitsu qui est pratiqué ou c'est pour vous quelque chose qui est très très loin de ce que vous faisiez à votre époque? Today, to stay on the evolution of MMA and jiu-jitsu, when you watch a high-level fight in MMA, like in Bellator, when you see them on the ground, do you say it's really far from what I was doing back in the time? Do you see what I mean? It's really different from my jiu-jitsu in MMA from back in that time?
The difference is that both now know jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
Before, a boxer was lost on the ground. You see, he would go to the ground, he didn't know what to do. A kickboxer, karate, taekwondo, they didn't know what to do. So today, they're a guy like Lyoto Machida. He's very good in karate, but very good in jiu-jitsu too. So you see a lot of the guys that they're very good stand-up, but they know the ground game too. So the difference is they both know jiu-jitsu.
Et l'opposé aussi, c'est qu'il y a beaucoup de très fortes ceintures noires qui maintenant sont très fortes aussi debout. The same, if this is the same for a jiu-jitsu player like Charles Oliveira or Gilbert Burns, they're good standing too. They're not just relying on the ground game.
Charles Burns is a very good stand-up.
He has perfect Muay Thai.
Or Douglas Lima.
Yes.
It's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but hits like a mule. It's like
his leg
hard.
kick.
Legs, super hard kicks, but he's like, that's what I was saying. Today's the fighters are more, they gotta know both game, not just one.
Yeah, well-rounded.
See, they gotta be more all around, yes.
Et par rapport à ça, quand vous avez fait votre retour, puisqu'on rappelle, vous avez fait un retour en 2016, au début 2016, février 2016, je crois, au Bellator. C'était contre Ken Shamrock, la trilogie, plus de 20 ans après le premier combat. Est-ce que vous vous êtes préparé différemment? Est-ce que la préparation d'un combat de MMA avait changé pour vous avec ces deux décisions?
Il l'a mis KO, hein. Il knock him out.
Oui, I was talking about, because you came back a few years back, it's 7 years now, but at the start of 2016, you met Ken Shamrock in the Bellator for the third fight, more than 20 years after the first one. Did you prepare it differently for that MMA fight because it was 20 years after and a lot of change had evolved? Or did you prepare the same because it was old Ken Shamrock and you prepare the same fight?
The preparation, what changes is I always practice the stand-up game. I always did jiu-jitsu. My diet has always been the Gracie diet. So what changed today, I think, for preparation is the equipment is better. And I never cut weight. So, but the people that cut weight, there's better ways to cut weight, more efficient ways to cut weight. You see, but again, as example, a uppercut from back then, still an uppercut today. A roundhouse kick from back then is the same roundhouse kick today. An arm bar, a choke, the setups, the leg work, the equipment to train, to make you faster, to make you more agile, that change. But the choke is the same choke. The arm bar is the same arm bar. A jab is a jab.
C'est marrant parce que par rapport à ça, quand on parlait de tous les sports tout à l'heure, Royce, vous parliez de cyclisme, d'autres sports. Ce sont des sports qui ont beaucoup évolué avec le matériel. Même la natation, la qualité de l'eau s'est améliorée et leur permettent de nager plus vite. Au final, dans les arts martiaux, comme il dit, un uppercut, ça reste un uppercut, un choke, ça reste un choke. Qu'est-ce qui a changé vraiment fondamentalement, en fait? You talked about other sports like cycling. Their sports evolved because of the the things that they are on, the bike are better, the roads are better, even in swimming, the water is better, so they go faster. Like you said, in combat sports, uppercut is still an uppercut, choke is still a choke. What did change fundamentally?
Strategy. What changes equipment, the strategy, is be able to know your opponent, be able to take him out of the game. The strategy changes. It's like a lot of the people that comes out and they just go heads on, bam, zero strategy, just come in to fight. Those don't last long. The guys that use this, the head, those are the guys that stay on the game forever.
Julien, si tu voulais autre chose.
Non, mais c'est vrai que c'est intéressant d'avoir cette réflexion sur la stratégie, parce que cette réflexion, on se l'est déjà faite beaucoup d'entre nous, sur le fait que finalement maintenant, avec l'accès aux vidéos, l'accès à la préparation, la communication, on a beaucoup plus d'informations qu'avant. I was telling that before it was very complicated to get information about our opponents because it was a bit blocked, because right now we got social media, we got videos, so much more access to everything, so it's much more easier to
back then you just see a picture.
Exactly.
That's what I'm fighting. Okay. there was no accessibility to videos and internet. So, my God, I'm that old. I'm going to go home and cry now.
Tu peux juste me répéter ce que tu avais dit en français, Jules?
Je disais juste que maintenant, en fait, grâce aux réseaux sociaux, à YouTube, à plein de choses comme ça, on a accès en fait à des informations auxquelles on n'avait pas accès il y a 15, 20 ans, 30 ans. Et je le vois même nous en jiu-jitsu. Moi, aujourd'hui, je suis encore capable de préparer des compétitions pour mes gars, même pour John et autres, en disant, regarde, là, j'ai 4 vidéos de ton futur combattant. On va pouvoir regarder sa stratégie, comment il combat et tout ça.
Ça aurait jamais existé.
Ce qui n'existait pas à l'époque.
Et c'est vrai, je sais que Joe, par exemple, je sais que tu te butes avec les vidéos de Craig Jones, de Gordon Ryan. Ça n'existait pas il y a 20 ans.
Exactement, c'est la diffusion du savoir qui est très importante. Mais justement, parlons-en. Récemment, donc, il y a eu le dernier ADCC, c'était le plus gros de l'histoire de la compétition. Il y a eu beaucoup de médias, la salle était remplie, et puis maintenant c'est diffusé un petit peu sur le Fight Pass, UFC Fight Pass, etc. Comment vous voyez en fait cette évolution du sport jiu-jitsu? Est-ce que vous pensez que ça peut devenir un sport encore plus gros? So last time we saw at the last ADCC, it was a huge event, maybe the biggest in the whole ADCC history. The arena was packed. It was broadcasted on the UFC Fight Pass and all. How do you foresee the future of the grappling sport? Do you think it can become bigger?
It can be bigger. It can go to the Olympics.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't mean that I agree with it. You see, because again, the rules, the point is going to become like karate.
Even ADCC rules?
Even ADCC rules. It's again, you score the point, you win. Once there's point involved, again, there is ways that you can try to fix. I see some people doing the grappling with open hand slap.
Yeah.
It changed the game a little bit now.
Crazy Eddie Bravo, right? It's crazy.
It's hey, but that's a little more realistic.
Yes.
You see, so some people doing without points at all. You see, the people are trying to experiment to figure out not to be boring, but to be able to have fun too.
Et à l'heure actuelle, quels sont les combattants de jiu-jitsu que vous aimez regarder le plus? Nowadays, for you are the best jiu-jitsu player. Who do you like to watch competing?
I don't really watch competition much. Okay. Not competition with the gi or no gi. Nah. You see, I hear the names.
Yeah.
Met some of the guys, but I watch MMA.
Yeah, ok. Bien.
Et d'ailleurs, Maître, vous pensez toujours que le MMA est une voie quasiment indispensable ou obligatoire pour un combattant de jiu-jitsu ou de grappling? Quand moi j'ai commencé, je me souviens très bien, au Brésil, on me disait « Ok, si tu gagnes des titres, si tu gagnes ci, ça, tu feras du MMA après, ta carrière sera réussie. » Maintenant, j'ai le sentiment qu'on n'est plus obligé d'aller vers le MMA parce que finalement, il y a plein d'autres options. When I started jiu-jitsu, I remember on the mat in Brazil, everybody told me that, okay, now you are winning competition, you will go to MMA because you will have a big career on MMA right now. But no, I feel that there is no obligation for jiu-jitsu guys or grappling guys to go to MMA because you got opportunities also in grappling, jiu-jitsu, and aside MMA. So you think that there's still an obligation for the guys coming from grappling or jiu-jitsu to go to MMA, or there is much more than before?
To go to MMA, you get more exposure than grappling. Grappling is still way below than MMA exposure. You see, so MMA grappling exposure, only people that knows is people that does grappling. MMA, the whole world knows. Everybody from every martial art watches, you see. So it's a big difference on exposure. But I hear and I see a lot of grapplers getting paid to compete, to do single matches and the dream matches. Hey, good. As long as they're getting paid, good for them.
Ils ne sont pas beaucoup. They are not a lot. Gordon Ryan is a millionaire, but he's the only one.
There's other guys that make money. You see, I hear a lot of guys making money, not millions, but they're making money. It's a good living. Hey, you're getting paid to practice what you like, to choke people out. That's awesome. What do you do? I get paid to break arms. Great.
Juste, Joe, comme tu n'avais pas traduit, tu disais qu'il n'y avait pas beaucoup de millionnaires, il n'y a pas beaucoup qui gagnent beaucoup d'argent dans le grappling, à part des Gordon Ryan et des gens comme ça. C'est ça que tu disais. J'avais deux petites questions aussi sur le parcours plus général, parce que ça m'amusait. I had two little questions about your whole career. Vous étiez au Pride à un moment, la légendaire organisation Pride, you were in Pride.
Il a battu Sakuraba.
Et voilà, exactement. Et il y avait ce combat de 90 minutes contre Sakuraba, et aussi ce combat judo-jiu-jitsu contre Yoshida. Est-ce que c'était à l'époque, ma question c'était, est-ce que c'était ça qui vous intéressait, ce côté défi, challenge, d'aller faire des combats qui aujourd'hui paraissent des hérésies et qui étaient pour vous des défis? We were talking about your time in Pride, so obviously, and this 90-minute fight against Sakubara, the judo versus jiu-jitsu fight, also against Yoshida. What was your fuel at that time? It was to have those kinds of fight that today would seem preposterous to a lot of people to fight for 90 minutes, but it was that challenge that had your fire burning at that time? You wanted those kind of challenge?
You're talking about the endurance?
Yeah, the fact to do a fight for 90 minutes, it seems crazy today.
I jump first, I figure it out later. We did those 6 rounds of 15 minutes. I think it was like 2 minutes, a minute and a half, 2 minute rest in between rounds. That was the most boring fight ever. My God. The crowd fell asleep, woke up, and we're still fighting. An hour and a half later, 145 minutes.
In 2000.
145 minutes. Like, man, it's like that was a boring fight.
So, c'est pas une bonne expérience. Not a great experience for that.
But again, it's equal for both of us. My father always says, if you feel tired, he's tired too.
Yeah, exactly.
So unless if I didn't do my homework, if I didn't train at all, and I just show up to fight and I get tired, bad news. But if I did my homework, if I train, when I get tired, he's gonna get tired too. So it's even for both of us.
Et je suis obligé d'avoir une question sur cette UFC 1 de 1993. Qu'est-ce que ça faisait pour Royce Gracie, le spécialiste de Jiu-Jitsu, quand pour son premier tour, il arrive dans la cage et qu'en face de lui, il y a Art Jimerson, un boxeur qui ne porte qu'un seul gant, tellement il a peur du travail au sol. What was that at the first UFC? I have to ask that question. To be against Art Jimerson with only one glove, for you, a jiu-jitsu specialist, where are you like, what is going on? What is happening?
The glove is not to protect the opponent's face. The glove is to protect the fighter's hand.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why they put the tape underneath. It's like almost like a cast. Because if you're not so many little bones on your hand, you throw one punch. Geraldo Gordillo throw one punch on the first UFC, broke his hand. Throw one kick, broke his foot. When he fought me, he had a broken hand and a broken foot. You see, so the glove was he was saying that Arjimas was saying, I'm gonna jab him so many times. He didn't want to break his hand. So that's why he put that glove. So jab, 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 and don't throw one hard one. But he didn't have a chance to throw not even a jab.
Messieurs, on pourrait passer, je crois, des heures à discuter avec Royce Gracie, tellement c'est passionnant et tellement on aime ça. Mais son temps est compté, donc voilà, on va devoir un moment arrêter. Mais vous avez d'autres petites questions? Juste une petite question chacun, si vous en avez une.
Honnêtement, je pourrais encore poser des questions pendant 2 heures, parce que pour le coup, pour moi, c'est une vraie chance. Et encore une fois, on parlait d'une légende. Mais j'aimerais savoir maintenant, c'est quoi vos prochains challenges? What are your next challenge? Are you something?
My next challenge?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm an endurance guy. So just for the fun of it, last January, the Navy SEALs asked me, hey, you want to go for a swim at Tampa Bay? Sure. Like I said, I jump first, figure it out later. I don't swim. I swim, but never long distance. It's like 100 yards on the beach, come back. Okay, good, great. man, we had to swim 3.5 miles. I probably swim 4 miles because I don't swim straight. I swim like a fish from side to side. And we're dragging, using the Navy SEAL gear, was about 60 to 70 pounds of gear dragging across. But again, okay, distance is on your mind. No problem. I can deal with that. Dragging 60, 70 pounds of gear, no problem. It's on your head. I can deal with that. But the freezing cold water, that was a problem. 3 hours took us to go across Tampa Bay. We got to the other side. I was shivering. I had hypothermia with the fingers was black, starting the beginning of stages of frostbite on my fingers. It was cold.
80 minutes contre Sakuraba, ça passe. Par contre, l'eau froide. 90 minutes fight, it goes well, but the cold water,
I went for a run. Just for the fun of it, strength coach and I get up. It's like, hey, let's go for a run today. Okay, get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. We run for 41 miles.
Awesome.
Do the math, how long that is.
It's crazy.
7 hours later, we stop, we go to bed. Like I felt like Forrest Gump, man. I was like, okay, I'm tired. I can't take another step. Call the car. Just for the fun of it. My sons and I wake up, okay, tomorrow. We just figured, it was just like, okay, let's go tomorrow. Let's do it. We walk from Malibu to Palos Verdes. That's like, it took us like 5 hours. Just backpack on it on the hottest day of the summer, just for the fun of it. We do crazy stuff like this.
Les champions sont des gens à part. Hein. Joe.
Et moi, j'ai une dernière question, ce serait quel conseil vous donneriez à des toutes nouvelles ceintures blanches et même en général à des gens qui commencent le jiu-jitsu brésilien? Ça serait quoi vos conseils principaux pour bien démarrer le sport? What would be your advices for people who are starting the sport of jiu-jitsu like my co-hosts?
I'm a white belt.
Practice. You got to know what you're doing. Once you know what you're doing, okay, you got to know what you're doing. You got to have endurance and then strength in that order. Because if you don't know how to drive a car, what good does a car do to you? Nothing. So, but then you know how to drive a car, but you don't have gas. What are you going to do? Push that car around town? So you have to have gas. So you have to know how to drive, you have to have gas, and then you have horsepower to make a fast car.
Et ma dernière question, Royce, my last question. On est là cette semaine pour le Bellator. Le Bellator se développe, il commence à faire des événements à travers le monde. C'est la 3e fois qu'ils viennent à Paris cette année. Enfin, c'est la 3e fois en tout. Comment vous voyez le développement du Bellator et jusqu'où peut monter, selon vous, cette organisation? So, Royce, obviously, so you're there for the Bellator. Bellator is expanding itself worldwide. It's the 3rd time that they come in Paris. How do you see the expansion of Bellator and where do you see them going? What can they attend?
Man, Bellator is growing all over the world. It's a lot of the guys, they did a co-event with Japan and with Ryzen.
Avec Ryzen.
So and it was a good fights. Good fights.
The card was nice.
So maybe one day do Bellator versus UFC. Hey, the champions from one side, put the champions on the other side. See what happened.
Don't tease us. Arrêtez de nous chauffer. Ça nous donne trop envie.
Ryzen and Bellator, man, it was a very good event. Yeah. It was not like, it was all, I think all the fights went to the distance. So that's how the level is in between the fighters, you see. So all the fighters went to the distance.
Et Jonathan pourra vous dire que j'ai déjà dit qu'il y a au moins et voire plusieurs champions au Bellator qui poseraient des vrais problèmes dans un cas dans un cas de carte comme ça. I think some champions in Bellator would pose huge problems for the other one.
There's only one way to find out.
Exactly.
Because but the level is so good that sometimes the guy just doesn't show up on the day of the fight. It's like he's not feeling, he peak on the wrong day. Everything gotta be so mathematical today, man. He have one day of the year to peak on that hour. You see, if he peaks earlier, 2 days before, he might not perform as good anymore.
A guy like quelqu'un comme Nemkov, je pense qu'à l'UFC il est champion. A guy like Vladimir Nemkov, he would be champion in the UFC easily.
Je pense aussi. Et rapidement, Royce, dans 50 ans, il y a toujours des Gracie dans l'élite du MMA mondial. Royce, in 50 years, will there still be some Gracie in the top MMA?
We are not a family. We are a factory of fighters. Yes, we'll be here forever.
C'est pas une belle conclusion, ça, Julien. Les Gracie seront là pour toujours, éternels, à jamais le premier, monsieur Julien Casier. Le clin d'œil est passé. Merci beaucoup, Royce Gracie. Thanks a lot. C'était un vrai plaisir, un vrai honneur d'être avec vous. Merci, Julien, pour tes lumières sur le jiu-jitsu. Et puis, tu sais, la porte est toujours ouverte pour toi. Et merci, Joe, comme d'habitude. Abonnez-vous sur toutes les plateformes pour rater aucun épisode. Envoyez-vous de la force, des commentaires, des pouces bleus. C'est bien, on vous offre du caviar quand même avec Royce Gracie.
S'abonner aussi.
Exactement, abonnez-vous parce que ça nous donne de la force. Et à très vite pour un nouvel épisode du RMC Fighter Club.
RMC Fighters Club.